Welcome to Davita's Stampin' Spot. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I was trying to get just a couple catalogs delivered after school today, and this takes longer than I think it will. Do you guys have that happen to you? Fortunately to me all the time. All right, so I have a project for you today. I have been using sunflowers. We used them for our shadow box class, and I was going to share that card idea, but realized the sunflower stamp set was retired, and I always like to use current product. So I switched it up. So let me show you what I have for you today. Turn the camera around. We are going to start with the sunflower embossing folder. Now, if you're online on crafting sites at all, you've probably seen techniques with this, and it is just stunning. I was going to share it a couple weeks ago, but my daubers were so old that the sponge on them disintegrated. So I had to wait till my new daubers got here. So I'm going to share it with you today. So what I did first was I grabbed my basic beige cardstock, placed it inside the embossing folder. Let's see, where'd it go? Looked like I went just about like that. Ran it through. Now, for this embossing folder, you need the big base, that's one, the embossing folder with the paper, and then you want number 4. Okay. Slide it in there, run it through, and you get this beautifully embossed paper. I don't know if you can see how deep that is. Look at those deep grooves. And I honestly ran it through one time and one time only. Sorry for that. I dropped the plates. All right. Now, normally, for me anyway, I usually use the top side of the paper when I'm creating. Today, we're going to flip it over. And no, I'm not going to show you. We're just going to start, and you can see the finished product when I'm done. So I decided to mix it up. You've seen a lot online where people are using browns with this. I'm going to try blue because I like blue. And my mother-in-law passed away yesterday, and she loved blue. So I'm kind of doing this as a tribute to her. She had so many things in her house that were blue because she just loved blue. You can see I'm just wiping it across here. You can go real dark, you can go real light, trying to kind of go in between. But isn't that stunning just like that? And how long did it take me? What, 10 seconds? So this is a way you could do it. You could just leave it just like that. See how beautiful that is? But we're going to add to it. I'm going to grab my chamois here and wipe this blue off my mat so I don't get blue on everything. Yeah, we were really surprised. Kent got a phone call. I guess it was about 5 o'clock yesterday, and she had passed away. She'd been having some issues, so it is a blessing, but you're never ready, even though you think you are. So if you're a person that prays, we'd appreciate your prayers. We'll be having the viewing and funeral next week. All right, we're going to use Old Olive for our leaves. We're going to use crushed curry, and yes, I'm using old ink pads. My new ones are set up for a class, and I didn't want to pull them out and then forget that I needed to put them back. And I'm going to use a little crumb cake for the center of my sunflowers. Going to take the dauber and the yellow, and we're going to color our leaves of our flowers, or petals, I guess I should say. You know me, I love to color. This is just a different way to do it. We had shadow box class this week, and we had a lot of fun together. One of my teammates and somebody that comes to class all the time, she created our sunflower design, and it was just gorgeous. And then we did some fall leaves, so I'll probably be doing a card with that, although I'm thinking maybe those stamp sets are retired. We'll have to look and see. So I'm just pushing down just a little bit. You do have to be careful when you do, like I did the Night of Navy. You don't want to push too far or it's going to go down in the cracks. of the flowers and the petals, and then that's going to kind of ruin your image. So you do have to be careful with that. The first one that I colored, and you'll see it here at the end, I accidentally colored some of the petals green like it was a leaf, but I fixed it. We'll see if maybe you guys can figure out where the spot is. Maybe I won't tell you. We'll see if you can notice it. All right. You can make this as dark or light as you want. And I was going to look up the technique. I can't remember. It's something wood grain or something like that. All right, this is our old olive. So I'm going to color my leaves, add some green to the leaves. And I really can't decide. You guys tell me what you think on the underneath the videos here. Do you like it colored, or did you like it where it was just the basic beige and blue, where there's so much contrast between them? Forgot those petals down there. All right, a little bit more green right there. Kind of fun to use the daubers again. I haven't used them in quite a while. All right, close those up. Now I'm going to grab my crumb cake. And I don't know, we'll see on the one where I used more green and yellow instead of I used brown instead of the blue. And I really liked the crumb cake, but I'm wondering if this one, we might have to mix in a little pecan pie or something, give it just a little bit more, a little darker center. I'm going to grab my pecan pie. Hang on just a second, guys. Sorry about that. I was back at school. First time back to the high school today. It's fun to be back with the kids, but then, it always kind of limits my crafting time because I'm not at home. Oh, yeah, I like the pecan pie better. Just adding a little more depth, I think. And do my centers so that they're just a little bit darker than the outer ring. Oh, isn't that pretty? Love that. All right. I'm going to close up my ink pads. Now, I cut this a little too long, a little too big, because I thought that way, if one of the edges I wasn't happy with it, I could trim it off. Actually, I like them all. I guess it won't really matter. So this piece is going to end up being 3 3/4. Yeah, I think we'll go there. 3 3/4 by 5. These are our standard layering sizes. We'll cut that off. And then I grabbed some crumb cake to mount behind that. I think I want to add a little more yellow. I think they need to stand out just a little bit more. And it'll match my paper a little bit better. I do have my Christmas card class next week. Friday is full. So if you were wanting to come Friday, I apologize, but that class is full. I do have one other day next week. I believe it's on Thursday. Oh, I think that's when it is. Having the funeral and everything on Monday and Tuesdays kind of taxed my brain. You always think, oh, I got all my ducks in a row. And as I'm doing this, I realized I didn't have my ducks in a row for today. And I apologize for that. I will post and email the Christmas card class. Yeah, I like that better. Yep. All right. So I'm going to mount that on my crushed curry. If you wanted a brighter yellow, you could do the Daffodil Delight. If you wanted a yellow that had a little more green in it, which I don't think you would want because the blue already is kind of making it look a little greenish, you could use the Darling Duckling. All right, this is a piece of our basic beige ribbon. I'm going to add that. Here. So I think my last video I shared with you, or one of them, was making the thank you cards for everybody for our trip. We went to Pennsylvania, went to Hershey. Oh, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Yep, Hershey has the most amazing chocolate, let me tell you. And then we went on to Philadelphia, had an amazing time there, and I gave away cards to people at restaurants, the tour guides, and all that. And it was just so fun to give them away, brighten their day. And so I wanted to give you that follow up because I always try to challenge people to do that kind of stuff. And wanted to let you know that I did it as well. So I'm practicing what I challenged you to do. All right, so I'm going to mount this on some Night of Navy paper. It looks like that. Isn't it amazing how that just pops? So I cut out a 2-inch circle here of the crushed curry. And where did my... Had a piece of basic beige that I'd already stamped out of. Well, we'll use this one. I found a stamp in the set called Patterns. Patterns of Friendship. And I'll show you, here's the brown one that I did. So I did pecan pie. So what do you think? You like that? Isn't that pretty? So I found this greeting that said, thinking of you brings a smile to my face. Thanks for being the best. And I thought I'd do the same thing here, but since this one is on the Night of Navy, I'm going to use Night of Navy ink. And I'm using a very old punch. It's actually one of our old ones. Remember these? Yep, change, change, change. All right. But what I like is I've had it for years and it still works. All right, so we'll mount these two together. Remember that the in color sale is going on through the end of August. So if you need some in color items, they are discounted. It's a great time to get your 2025, 2027 in color goodies. I just had my dimensionals too. Here they are. I'm putting in orders quite frequently right now. So if there's something you need and you don't have a $75 order, which is what you want if you want your shipping to be the percentage instead of the flat fee, you want to get it up about there. All right, so we're going to put that right there. Send your stuff to me if you live locally, and I'll be happy to order it for you and then get it to you. And if you live locally, I'm in the process of delivering the mini catalogs for this fall. So the September to December catalogs, I got them in the mail. They arrived while we were on our trip. And so I'm getting those passed out now. All right. Here's this, and I'm going to stamp on the inside. Thanks for being the best. To use your glass mat, I love my glass mat. Makes everything look so nice. All right. So in the comments, please tell me, do you like the Night of Navy better, or do you like the pecan pie? Which one is more your style? Hold them up just a little bit. A little harder to tell. I do promise that is Night of Navy, and this one's the pecan pie. I think it's a really fun technique. The embossing folder is absolutely gorgeous. It has gone out of stock, I think, twice already, but I do believe it's back in stock. Oh, this is what I was going to do. I cut that strip off. I was going to add that strip right there. I like that. We'll add that on there. Just for a little extra focal point. And I think I'll do it on this side. There we go. There. Just add a little something extra for the inside. There you go. There's my project today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I probably will not have a tip on Tuesday. We will be down in central Kansas for my mother-in-law's funeral. But I do plan to be on next Thursday with a tip. So or not a tip, with a project. So I'll see you next Thursday. Hope you love this project. If you don't have the embossing folder and would like it, let me know. I'd be happy to